Second week of November 2016. Planet X is often mentioned in the context of the most serious threat to life here on Earth. There are many of you who genuinely believe that our planet is in peril from objects that have entered our solar system that are alien to what we have studied and understand about our universe. Recently published scientific theories on this subject have done nothing to ease the fears of so many who know and understand that something is wrong with planet Earth and with our solar system. Scientists have for some time rejected the idea of a Planet X, dismissing it as pseudoscience. But that doesn't stop theorists from worrying about the changes that are happening in our solar system, according to a number of global research institutions. Apparently, our government and most others have decided to keep under wraps the projected approach of Nibiru. The idea of an unknown planet 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth was first proposed by astronomer Percival Lowell in the early 1900s and was widely publicized by Soviet-born scholar Zecharia Sitchin in the 1970s. You may or may not agree with the hypothesis established by these men, but their theories regarding a 10th planet are worrisome to many people. According to astrophysicists from the American Association for the Advancement of Science, this Neptune-sized planet orbits the Sun every 15,000 years or so. Even so, there are a number of so-called amateur astronomers with unsophisticated telescopes that are incapable of observing an object which is only visible in the infrared spectrum, who will emphasize that it doesn't exist because they cannot find it anywhere within the scope of telescopic observation. If we say that we have evidence for Planet X, their immediate reaction is, "Oh, here we go again. These guys are crazy." I'm sure you've heard that many times over. The naysayers who claim to be experts on visual observations, including photo and video analysis of second sun captures, are hell-bent on concluding that every scientific theory is wrong, that because I cannot see it, therefore it does not exist. That every photo and video capture of this incoming system is a hoax, a fabrication, concocted by a lunatic fringe of conspiracy theorists. Of course, this is their claim. It is the same old and stale story of a planet that does not exist in their minds. But dismissing all of this as nonsense may be a little premature. According to Caltech researcher Mike Brown, as reported recently on Space.com, the documented discovery of this hypothetical giant planet could most likely occur within the next 12 to 18 months. Brown goes on to say that enough people will be looking for this object that it will actually be tracked down and discovered in due time. Now, we already know that a near miss by this planet, or this system of planets, as some have theorized, would throw Earth's gravity out of whack. It would lead to a pole shift and a series of asteroid collisions, all of which makes sense if something this large and this ominous was coming our way. As has been told in ancient Babylonian and Egyptian texts and inscriptions, Nibiru was home to ancient alien astronauts who seeded life on Earth. They are the Nephilim giants in the Bible who came to Earth from heaven. Perhaps the strangest thing about the Planet X Nibiru controversy is that scientists and theorists are starting to agree on one thing. The truth will soon be uncovered, as Mike Brown told Space.com recently. There are a lot of people looking, and I and other observers have given our viewers clues on where to look for this planet, which is most often concealed. We want it to be found. That is our ultimate goal, so that the world can know what they are up against. The search for Planet X is hardly new. Astronomers have been searching for this mysterious planet for many years. Here are some facts that relate to this search for distant worlds within our solar system, which drew considerable interest, were then discredited for a time, and then were reintroduced with renewed interest and further investigation. As I mentioned already, American astronomer Percival Lowell popularized the search for this supposed unnamed planet, which he and others referred to as Planet X. And Lowell began an in-depth search for it starting in the year 1906. The discovery of Pluto by American astronomer Clyde Tombaugh in 1930 was initially believed to solve the Planet X mystery, but later observations showed that Pluto was too small to affect the orbits of Uranus and Neptune in any significant way. The Planet X theory was largely discredited as further studies of the orbits of Uranus and Neptune found that the initial problems with the orbits were caused by miscalculations and actually not by another large planet. The Planet X theory lost further ground when NASA announced in 2014 that its probe could not find evidence of any other large planets in our solar system. Astronomers used careful calculations of orbits using observations, angles, speed, and light to determine the positions of planets and other objects in space. In addition to observations, astronomers used mathematics to project orbits, and among the most elementary mathematical tools being the laws of planetary motion used for centuries. California Institute of Technology, astronomers Konstantin Bidygin and Mike Brown have published their evidence for another planet, which has led to the renewed search. These scientists have suggested that this planet, if it exists, could have a highly elliptical orbit different from the more circular orbits of the other planets. If this new planet exists, astronomers believe that it could be 10 times the size of Earth and up to 55 billion miles, or 90 million kilometers, from the Sun, giving it an orbit that would take approximately 10 to 20,000 years to complete. So those are the facts as we know them. Now, everyone is entitled to their own opinions on this subject, but they are not entitled to their own facts. I know and understand that many of you are wondering if this planet will ever arrive. You have asked me this many times in your comments. I, for one, hope that I never see it, because it will spell great trouble for this world. Unfortunately, there are too many preparations taking place across this planet that would indicate that something strange is heading our way. Now, I must tell you that it is uncertain as to what effect the passage of this giant planet or system of planets will have on Earth. There have been a number of predictions that have come and gone that would lure you into complacency. And that is why I have never gone out on a limb to make any predictions about when this passage would occur. What I am doing is watching the signs of increased earthquake and volcanic activity to help guide me in determining how quickly the approach is happening. One thing I would like for you to remember is that you cannot believe every story that you read or every image or video that you see that has to do with Planet X or a second sun. What I have attempted to do with these video presentations is to provide a format for interpretation by incorporating a combination of facts and theories that can justify the existence of a binary star system or a giant celestial planet lurking somewhere within the confines of our solar system. I have also presented a series of images and short video clips that has been deemed to be credible, showing the existence of an unknown celestial body in a retrograde orbit around our sun. Now, you have a perfect right to disagree and draw your own conclusions about what is or isn't real. But when you attack and attempt to blatantly discredit the messenger through profanity, verbal abuse, and threats of violence, then that is where the line will be drawn. We are headed for tumultuous and trying times. We see and feel it every day on this planet. So let's try to be civilized in our discourse going forward. I promised that I would make every effort to keep you updated on what is developing with the approach of Nibiru. I'm able to do this thanks to all of you who are concerned and want to share what you have seen and observed. So here are some of the latest observations, and as I have always said with each of these presentations, judge for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Do some thorough investigating on your own. I think you will be amazed at what you can learn and understand about this object, which is steadily approaching from the outer regions of our solar system. These images were captured on November the 4th in North Carolina, just a few days before the general election. Hovering over the crowd is a planet-like spherical ball. The oddity about this capture is that the images of this sphere are strikingly similar to the capture of a planetoid from the KWOS observatory located in Italy on October the 28th. There is no way of telling exactly what this may be. However, it is conceivable that this is a capture of one of the moons of the Nibiru system, which is comprised of many moons that span out tens of thousands of miles or more from the center of this system. Whatever this may be, it is being captured on camera from various locations in the northern hemisphere. There is one thing about these images that has struck my curiosity somewhat. In May of this year, 2016, I produced a video entitled Planet X Prophecy, Nemesis, Fiery Comet May Strike Earth. The video included the spoken words of Veronica Lucan, who, if there are any Catholics among our viewing audience, may note that she was a visionary who was known as the Seer of Bayside, New York, where the first appearance of the Virgin Mary reportedly occurred in 1970. In the audio podcast of her comet vision, which was recorded in 1994, 1 year prior to her death, she spoke of a ball of redemption, a doomsday comet hovering in space that would come upon the earth in the latter days. If you look at these images, it in some ways resembles the images that were captured hovering over the crowd in North Carolina recently. Is this just a coincidence? Maybe, but who really knows for sure? The Roman Catholic hierarchy never recognized Lucan's prophetic visions because, in their words, they were contrary to the teachings of the Church. Simply stating, they did not want to cause alarm among the flock, as this would lead to religious chaos and an organizational breakdown within the foundation of the Church. So this is something that should spark some interest in those of you who believe that the end of days is found in religious scripture and its fulfillment will come to fruition according to the spoken word. The following images are very difficult to explain. There has been a slew of interpretations as to what this is. Again, the strange thing about this object is that it appears out of nowhere. Its image is randomly captured on camera, and each image is showing the same thing, a fiery ball with trailing wings, very similar to what the Egyptians saw in the sky centuries ago, which they called the winged globe. This object has been observed from both the southern hemisphere in mid-April of this year and from the northern hemisphere in November. So again, I cannot say for sure what we are seeing here. If you look at the close-up of this object, it in no way resembles a jet or an aircraft that we can easily identify. It does look like an incoming object of some sort. Those individuals who recorded these captures have indicated that the object never descends to the ground, so it appears to be perpetually in motion in space, captured by light intensity as it nears the sun. So if you're at all intrigued by this, contact me or post a message on our Facebook account and give me your thoughts on this very discerning capture. On November 7th, the Webcam de Mexico captured what appears to be two spherical objects to the far left of the sun. When enhancing these images, you can clearly see these objects come to life. Again, this does not meet the criteria of a lens flare, as flares do not look like planets or solid objects, which this resembles. Anyway, this too is a very interesting capture. The next two images were posted on the Skywatch Media Facebook page. As you can see, the second sun is visible to the upper left and in a position that places it behind the sun at this particular moment. This image would also confirm what I was stating in my previous video about the binary star approaching from behind the sun at this particular moment. The second image is another testament to what I was referring to. Here again is a very large red dwarf star to the far left of the sun, photographed behind the clouds and in a position that places it behind the sun. Several statements were placed on our channel commentary, apparently by a few individuals who are in utter denial about this approaching system, claiming that I was misleading the viewers about the location of the Nibiru system, stating that it is approaching from behind the sun, when in fact the Earth orbits around the sun, so it could not possibly be in back of the sun at all times. Well, to the contrary, I never implied as such. What I attempted to convey was the belief that this system is in a state of perpetual motion as it orbits the sun in a retrograde fashion, thus appearing to be approaching from behind the sun at a particular time. Because this system is comprised of several planets and moons, hundreds of thousands of miles or more in distance from one another, we will see different entities at different times and in different locations. And, in fact, if you accept these two images of the object captured behind the sun, taken on November 5th and 7th, then it would quite obvious be that the second sun is situated in back of our sun at this particular moment. So we can agree to differ on its location, but the image captures speak for themselves. This video capture is from Australia on October 23rd. The visibility of the second sun nemesis is more noticeable from the southern hemisphere, which includes the Australian continent, much of South America, southern Africa, and Antarctica. Numerous captures of the approaching system have been recorded from these locations in recent times. And finally, a capture of the second sun from the Philippines that was taken at the end of July of 2016. The video capture was taken at some point prior to sunset. Our sun is somewhere off to the upper left of the capture of this object. Listen very carefully to what the observer is saying while videotaping this phenomena. He specifically states that this object, which he calls Planet X, is a first-time capture from his location, and that this is an abnormal presence in the sky.
That is Planet X. That is Planet X. Jesus' name. It's true that it's coming at this time. It has never happened. We've never seen this before here in the Philippines. We have never seen this before in the Philippines. This is the first time ever that we've seen this. This is not the sun. This is not the sun. As you can see, it's blood red, surrounded by the dark clouds. It's not the regular sunset. Because the regular sunset is over there, way beyond the clouds, where the bright clouds are. That's the regular sunset. That's where the regular sunset is. This one here doesn't show the brightness. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for showing this to me, for giving me the opportunity to see this. It's blood red. If I can only get the right color of this, it is blood red. It is blood red, like the blood moon. If I find it over there, that's how the sunset is. If you can see, that's how the sunset is. The bright sky, bright lit sky are clouds. That's where the regular sunset comes from. And so, but this one right here, this is Planet X. Hercules or Nibiru, Planet X or Nibiru. That's not the moon either. The moon doesn't come from there. Oh, help us, Lord Jesus. It's confirmed. They're indeed here, visible around the world.
If you haven't figured it out yet, there are many things happening that make absolutely no sense, and which defy any rational explanation. It's very easy to dismiss these anomalies as lens flares and camera refractions. But anyone with any knowledge of photographic artifacts would tell you that what the cameras are picking up is not normal. These are perplexing images. Why are so many people looking to the sky in anticipation of something ominous coming our way? They are searching for this strange entity because it solidifies their belief and their feelings that something has gone astray in the natural realm. So I offer solace to those who are diligently searching for the truth. I too am searching for the answers. What has entered our solar system is unknown to us, and yet past civilizations were aware of its existence, as was evident in the writings of ancient text and the inscriptions carved in hieroglyphics that warned of its impending dangers. So the answer to these mysteries are out there. They just haven't been identified yet. But like all things, it is just a matter of time before all the mysteries of this universe will be manifest.